check back in again if we can with Steffan.
Steffan, you are on the air.
Oh, sweetness. And you got my name right, which nobody else can ever do.
Hey-o.
Hey.
That's the
It
kind
was
of
those
quality
later
here.
seasons of Family Matters. Never mind.
So I hear that you called in last week when I was away. Would you be able to give me a quick update on what the conversation was about and what you would like to talk about today?
Yeah, I will do my best. Let's see here. All right, so I'm an atheist, of course. I've been an atheist since, I think, probably the end of last year. My girlfriend, she is a Christian theist, Presbyterian or whatever. I don't know if that matters. But yeah, she's been a Christian her whole entire life. And
I've dated a lot of Christians. It matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are too many freaking subdomains, as I call them, to keep track of.
I feel like it's something you should know.
Anyway.
Go on.
Yeah, right. But yeah, she's been a Christian for her entire life. She was raised up a certain way, which now that I am who I am and that I've changed as much as I have over the years, I disagree with every passionate fiber of my being, because we had a fun conversation, I think, about a month ago about whether or not she would be okay with maybe pleasuring herself a little bit, because of course she's a virgin, and that's perfectly okay. I don't judge or anything. But she's a virgin. She's never done anything sexual with anybody else or even herself. And one of the reasons was because her hormonal imbalance. She has a hormonal imbalance or whatever that she has to take a certain type of birth control for. But I asked her, would it be too much to see, if you could try and pleasure yourself a little bit? It doesn't have to be in front of me. You can do it in the comfort of your own home, your own bed, whatever. And so she said she would try it, and that was pretty much the end of that. She said that she enjoyed it, but I haven't said anything. So we've talked about it. We've talked about trying things like experimenting. I told her, if you don't want to do this, or if there's something that you don't feel comfortable with enough, then I won't do it. We won't do it. You can tell me, hey, stop, don't do it, and that's the end of it. So we tried, we make out. We definitely make out. I have, for lack of better words, gone up her shirt.
Wow, second base.
I know, right? Wow.
Second base? I can't even.
That's second base.
Depends on which game you're playing.
Oh, fair.
Sorry, continue.
Go on.
Sorry. But yeah, I asked her, would it make you feel uncomfortable if I were to kind of rub your vagina a little bit? She said, as long as you don't go underneath the pants. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So that's what I did. She said she enjoyed it. But the problem is she says she does not want to have an orgasm until we are married. And unfortunately, and this was even way before I became an atheist, I'm a sexual person. I like that kind of stuff. I'm definitely not a virgin, which made plenty of mistakes, but whatever. But it would be nice. It would be nice to try and do certain things. And I've explained to her, whenever it comes to our wedding night or whenever it actually happens, what I'm afraid of is we're going to go into it and I'm not going to know, neither one of us are going to know exactly what turns you on, what gets you off even, and I'm afraid that it's going to be one of those things where it's going to take about 15 to 30 minutes just to figure out what you like. Because, we could be completely nude and I could be doing something certain down there. And she says, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. And then I could do something else. And I don't want that to have to happen because, unfortunately, being a guy, you can try so many things and then you could unfortunately lose interest. And that's kind of what I'm afraid of. And I feel like
Yeah, let me
like
quell your fears a little bit and just let you know that
You're a guy.
she's not going to have an orgasm on that first time y'all have sex.
Yeah, no.
It's just not going to happen.
It's not.
It's fine. You know, if that's the life that you're headed towards, that's the decision y'all are making, cool. But let me take some of that stress off and just let you know that,
Nope.
yeah, no, it's not going to happen. And that's just something to come to terms with.
And that has
am I
nothing
off
to do
base?
with whether you're waiting for marriage or not.
Yeah.
First times are like that.
Yeah, and that's okay. So don't put all the pressure on it. Don't make it out like it has to be an orgasmic, symphony.
Experience.
Yeah, there will be no champagne from the heavens. There will be no angels singing.
No.
There will probably not be any female coming. So,
There will be a lot of fumbling, a lot of There,
That could be a bonding experience.
which is fine in its own right. If it's fun and pleasant, my fear is that it won't be fun and pleasant. My fear is that it'll be terror filled. But I don't necessarily know that has to be the case.
are you just basically hoping to get all the fumbling out of the way before the wedding night?
I don't know if you would call it fumbling. I want her to.
We would.
And if do what?
We as a consensus say yes.
Yeah,
It's
fumbling.
fumbling.
Fumbling's the word.
We choose it. Go on.
Sorry. Yeah, I honestly, I would like to know what turns her on. And plus, again, with the way she was raised up, it would be nice if she would come out of her shell. Again, I told her, I'm not going to push it, And again, we've had these kinds of talks before, but it hasn't really gone too far because she's not a decisive person, and she's uncomfortable with it, which, like I said, if I told her, if you don't feel comfortable with this, tell me, and then we'll drop it or whatever. But with the whole fumbling part, yeah, I guess I kind of do want to get out of the way, but then again, that's where me and her differ. I'm a sexual person, and she's definitely not. It's not as big of a worry for her, but, I would honestly, we've been together for almost 2 years. We've had a history before we got back together this third time, and I feel like we could go further in the relationship, but again, I don't want to be that boyfriend who forces her. So every single time, anytime that we try something and something doesn't work, or she says, well, this is how I think, okay, well, again, like the whole, I don't want to have an orgasm until marriage. It's like, okay, well, I suppose what's the point of doing any of this if you don't want to have an orgasm, or you don't want to try and have an orgasm? Or unless I'm being a complete and total, if I'm not being understanding enough, I suppose.
Well,
I'm not sure.
I would say also, from her perspective, it's possibly, you had mentioned a maybe lack, like a low libido or a lack of interest. I would also posit out there that maybe it's neither one of those things. Maybe it's fear. If she doesn't even want to have an orgasm before a wedding night, before she is, betrothed in the eyes of God, then maybe it is fear based off of a lot of religious teaching and societal pressures and a lot of shame. Yeah. And I would say,
I felt the same way.
I would say that it's important to recognize that, because there are different approaches to whether you're dealing with a lack of libido or whether you're dealing with fear and shame.
Yeah, and I think both are very capable of lingering.
Yeah.
We are all here doing this show, but I know that our lives have all been touched and continue to be touched by religious fear and shame, and the way that affects our libido and our gag reflex and our just disgust with ourselves and our partners and our sex lives and all of these things. And it's very overcomable, but it's not going to be quick and easy, particularly if she's not even yet at a stage in her life where she is wanting to overcome those things. So, you know, if this is the relationship for you, if this is the direction y'all are headed, you know, good luck to you. I mean, absolutely, you have a tough road ahead of you, and I think I would just let you know now that that's a little bit of the journey that you're signing up for.
I'm going to ask you a blunt question. I'm going to ask you a blunt question, Steffan. You ready?
I'm sorry?
I'm going to ask you a blunt question. Are you ready?
Go for it, yes.
Okay. Given that we know that your first time is going to be rough, it's going to be tough, and it's going to be awkward. She doesn't know what pleasures her, and you don't know what pleasures her, and you guys don't know what your chemistry is going to be like. It's going to be awkward, whether it's tomorrow or after your wedding. Is your real fear here not figuring this stuff out before you're, you know, stuck together?
Locked in?
I think I understand the question, and if I answer this wrongly, or if I whatever, please let me know. From past experiences, honestly, I'm just scared that I'm not going to be able to pleasure her in any way possible, and which is one of the reasons why I want to do this, because I'm scared to death that every female I know for a fact is different. Every female, just like every guy, is different, and I'm scared to death that even on our wedding night or even afterwards, I'm not going to be able to figure that out, and it scares the holy crap out of me, because my thing is if it does not pleasure her or the person that I'm with, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go any further, because I don't even know how to word this correctly. You want to make her happy. Exactly. And if it's not going to make her happy, then it's not worth it. And I know that is I know there are other things besides sex, but that's a pretty big thing in a relationship and in a marriage. And yeah, I'm scared to death. Honestly, I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to do anything for her.
Have you expressed that to her in those words?
Since my memory is complete crap, honestly, I do not know.
Fair.
And we're just gonna assume no.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very human response. I mean, I do think it would take an incredible amount of bravery to say exactly what you just said. But I think I'm with Sarah. I would urge you to find a way to say it.
Yeah.
And let us know how that goes, because that could very well, I mean, I would hope that would change the conversation between you. And maybe she would feel comfortable opening up to you a little bit more about where her fears are stemming from, and where her hesitancy is coming from.
Yeah, this all feels very performance-based. It sounds like an engineering problem, you know, and you're almost wishing that you could give her a blood test so that you could find out like what ratio of clitoral stimulation versus like labial action and these different things. So take some of that out and try to just have some fun. I know that that's like a really blithe answer, but just enjoy yourself. Hope that she enjoys herself, and try to take some of the benchmarks of, did she come? Did we, you know, perform this sex act? Did we check that box? And if you're enjoying making out, enjoy making out. If you're making out and you would enjoy, you know, putting your hands on her hips and she would enjoy that too, just look for those things that you're both enjoying rather than those things that are going to check off certain boxes or achieve certain accomplishments. I mean, this is not a video game. You're not going to unlock any achievements with your time with her.
I would also encourage you to have that conversation, to express where your fears lie, and you know, to suss out where her fears are coming from too, so you can have a more open line of communication, so you actually know where you both stand and why, and go from there.
I mean, that's a form of real intimacy right there. Just like opening up to the ways that you're both afraid. That is connection, like beyond sex. That's the real shit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you some reassurance. You know, if you two are into each other and you approach things, you know, honestly and openly and with your fears expressed, you know, give yourselves time. It's gonna work, you know, as far as that goes. The likelihood is that you'll be fine in time.
Right, yeah, and I agree, and yeah, I will definitely talk to her, see what happens. Hopefully, all goes well. Since there's a good possible chance she's never going to see this, would I be able to ask one more quick question, completely off topic?
Yeah, hit us real quick. We got a few folks on the line, but I'd love to know what's on your mind.
All right, real quickly. So I'm actually bisexual, but not a single person, none of my friends, none of my family know. So, would it really be that irrational to tell, especially my girlfriend, because she's a very understanding person, but then again, she's a Christian and all that. I definitely can't tell my parents, and I sure as hell can't tell my brother, because he's apparently in a way threatened to kick my ass if I were to come out anything like that. But is it irrational? Would you say it's irrational to be afraid to tell anyone at all that I'm bisexual? Or
irrational? No. I think it makes total sense to be afraid. Would I still do it? You know, that's a real conversation, because if you're talking about spending the rest of your life with somebody and they don't know who you are, that's real concerning for me. Yeah, and I think that we are allowed to have secrets. I don't really like some of these modern thoughts about how true intimacy means just like vomiting on each other. I do think that people are allowed to have space. I mean, no, if they want to, that's great. But it's not an obligation to do that. So I don't think that you owe her every thought you've ever had, every memory you've ever had, you don't need to cut open your brain and give it to her. But I wouldn't want to hide a huge part of myself from somebody I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And this one's just free. Forgive me for this, but I almost wonder if your concerns and some of the shame tied to the homosexual parts of you, tied to your bisexuality, might play into some of your fears of performance with a straight partner. I don't know if that's the case for you, but I think that that is probably a good place for you to investigate some of your own fears and insecurities, which, by the way, are human and healthy and natural to have, but it's good to be aware of them. And if that's one for you, it might be something worth taking a look at.
All right. Thank you so much. And for all the rest of the callers, so sorry about that.
Thanks, Steffan.
Good luck to you. Hope to hear from you in the future. Take care.
So that was, I think, that turned out to be a little heavier than I was expecting.
It's a lot, yeah. A lot going on.
I like the way it changed.
Yeah.
I like the change of the conversation there. It was good.
Yeah.